life is just like one big data collecting experiment. I low-key look like I'm in jail right now. Kind of. There's like this divider in our apartment, which is pretty cool. I think it's supposed to be like when you're cooking, because I'm in the kitchen area right now. So when you're cooking, it doesn't, like the smell doesn't leak over into the living spaces. I'm currently eating a cinnamon bun. This is from a bakery that I pass by every time on my walk home. And every time I want it, but I always tell myself, like, don't buy it, because why? Since I'm leaving soon, I'm like, just get it, you know? Just do nice things for yourself. So this is my cinnamon bun. Yesterday I went to a cafe and I just did one of my favorite pastimes is just sitting and journaling at a cafe. I haven't done that in a while. I think recently when I have gone to cafes, it's easier to catch up with a friend or I end up working. Also, sorry, it was raining so, I don't know why I'm apologizing to you, but it was raining so hard that my hair is wet even though I was using an umbrella, so I feel like I look quite haggard right now, but we're just gonna have to work with it. What are these like? The face framing pieces are never it for me. Like, what's going on? Okay, anyway, it's been the longest and shortest 6 months ever. I think when I was planning my time here, you know, like 6 months kind of felt like a long time. It's if you say it, I guess it just depends how you phrase it. Like if you say, oh, I'm going for half a year, that sounds like such a long time. But in reality, it's really just flown by in the blink of an eye. I also did travel to like lots of places while I was here though. I've learned a lot about myself, obviously. I've had some people ask me, you know, like what are your main takeaways and like what are your reflections from your time in Taiwan now that it's coming to a close. As I was journaling, I realized that I was looking forward a lot. I was talking about like a lot of what this next, I guess, phase, next season, next chapter of my life is going to look like. But I realized that maybe I want to like look back. So I was in Taiwan from October to April. I think some of my main reflections in my time here is this was the first time that I had the freedom to be selfish. So before I decided to move to Taiwan, I had previously worked a corporate job for 2.5 years, and I had also worked a part-time job for 3.5 years, or I guess 3 years. So I had worked 2 jobs at once, so I'd saved up. I primarily wanted to work to pay off my student loans. So after I saved up enough to do that, everything else, I mean, just like went towards saving pretty much. I wanted to save up so that it would be easier for me to make the decision to come to Taiwan, because then I would have less financial burden, and I think my relationship with money is kind of rocky. Maybe it's being like a daughter of immigrants, but I knew that if I didn't have a strong financial foundation when coming here, I would limit myself a lot and talk myself out of doing things that I actually want to do out of the sake of saving money. So I think these 6 months was like the first time I really let myself just spend a little bit more freely and feel like I deserve it all because I had earned it. Like I work hard for this money, so it's okay to spend. I think everything was more or less just on my own schedule. I did language classes for like 2.5 months, but then after that I was able to just kind of decide what I want to do with my time. This whole time has just been a big like treat yourself kind of situation. I think I've had situations where a friend will comment on how much money I'm spending or how I appear to be lucky and well off because I have money to spend when I'm in Taiwan. But the reality is I saved up for this for like 3 years, and I've been working a part-time job while I've been here. So I have, thankfully, very luckily, a stream of income still. But I don't know, just like hearing those comments about the way that I spend my money was, it like rubbed me the wrong way, like honestly, because I'd worked so hard to get to where I am now. So to have someone make offhand comments about how much money I'm spending and how it's such a luxury for me to be able to afford these things I already have a hard time letting myself spend and being nice to myself financially, so it was just hard to be around that kind of mindset and energy. Of course, I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't spend like a crazy amount. I still budgeted and like kept track of my finances while I was here, and was intentional in the things that I bought and really thought about it instead of making impulsive shopping decisions. But even me saying this, it just feels like I always have to justify my thought process and like how I decide to spend my own money that I earned. In my time here, I have grown a lot more appreciative of my parents and their experience moving to the US and learning a whole new language and adopting like a whole new culture and raising children in a culture and environment that they themselves didn't grow up in. I still remember when I was applying for colleges, I had a lot of questions and I just didn't really know where to start, and I couldn't ask my parents. Like, they didn't really understand either what the process was like of applying to colleges in the US. Just being more empathetic and understanding of my parents and like how much they have truly gone through to uproot their lives here in Taiwan and move to the US and start over, and how I have the luxury to do what I'm doing now because of their decision to move. I can literally talk about that for so long, of just like how grateful I am, so I'll just keep it short at that. Another takeaway I've had in my time here is I genuinely like myself. There's like no reason for me to dislike someone that I spend all of my time with. Like, it's too much energy to not like myself. I spend all of my time with me. Yeah, so I think the past 6 months have just been, even like I would say like maybe 8 months just going on tour as well. Like a lot of learning how to be nicer to myself, whether it is financially, like being selfish with my time, things like that. I've learned how to enjoy my own company. I've talked about it in a lot of my other videos, but I like myself. I like being around myself, and I like who I am, and I think that has been a very big area of growth for me, just to be more comfortable with myself, being alone. I think I have really recognized my like oldest daughterness while I've been here, with all of the above reasonings that I just said. I think all of that does contribute to the fact that I am the eldest daughter, and this is the first time that I've gotten to just think only for myself and not worry as much about my parents and how my decisions maybe affect my siblings and all of that. So it's been very freeing, and I feel very, very, very grateful and very lucky to have had the opportunity to choose to like even get to be selfish and get to learn more about myself. Another area of growth for me is learning to trust my gut, knowing my limits physically and socially and even like emotionally. There was one time where I was supposed to go on a weekend trip with some of my friends from my language class. However, I got sick leading up to that weekend. I just knew that if I went, I was gonna be worse. Down Bad by Taylor Swift. I knew just like based off of like the trip and what our itinerary was, that I was just gonna feel like complete shit after. So I decided to not go on the trip, which was very sad because I really wanted to go visit. We were supposed to go to Tainan and Alishan, and I'd never been to Alishan, and it's just beautiful, gorgeous nature, scenery. Like, I wanted to go so bad. Anyway, so I decided not to go, and it was a really good decision because I ended up getting better after that weekend because I got to rest for a full 3 days. I took like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And one of my friends that ended up getting sick on the trip because of just like how cold it was and the constant travel and not sleeping enough. So I think that's like one example of me trusting my gut, because I think I definitely could have seen how in college I would have just pushed through and went anyway, just because like rally and like you only get to try this one time, like you're never gonna have time with these people again, All of those are true, but at the end of the day, my health is the most important. Also, understanding my socializing limits, knowing when to say no. Learning to say no has given my yeses more value. Choosing how I would like to spend my time. My decisions have been a lot more intentional. I think leading up to me deciding to come to Taiwan, I was quite social. I'd hang out with my coworkers a lot and put myself out there more, which was really great in that moment. But it was quite exhausting and took a lot out of me as an introvert. The past 6 months in culmination have felt like just this huge, slow exhale, like releasing the tension off my shoulders. Just this time to let myself dream and find purpose outside of work. As someone who is low-key a workaholic, I've been working since like my second year of college. I've just like always had a job in one way or another. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely been times of like stress and worry and a lot of anxiety in the past several months. But I would say like big picture overall, looking at the past 6 months, like I don't remember those moments of like panic and like worry and just like stress. I just see overall how much happier I am and how this time here has positively impacted my mental health, my physical health. Like my stomach rarely hurts in Taiwan, but at home in California it hurts all the time. Like literally almost after every single meal my stomach hurts. And here I eat out all the time and my stomach doesn't hurt. I cook at home, my stomach doesn't hurt. I don't know what's in the food, but yeah, been better for my health. Getting to set routines and just figure out what works for me. Living alone, kind of. I do have a housemate, so I'm not totally alone, but I've learned that I'm stronger and more capable than I realized. And I have come to the understanding and I've come to the conclusion that without this sounding like really like tooting my own horn, like I'm a good person and I deserve good things. And I deserve like happiness. I don't know why it was so hard for me to like come to terms with that. I think in college I just had a lot of mental burden and just put a lot of stress on myself, and felt like I wasn't deserving of things because I didn't work hard enough for it, or I just like was a bad person. I have a very kind and wise and perspective friend named Nicole. And she told me, I was like kind of spiraling before I left for Taiwan about something, and she told me something that her therapist taught her. So thank you for the indirect therapy, Nikki. Life is just like one big data collecting experiment. Like when things happen, good or bad, we're just collecting more and more data so that we can make more informed decisions moving forward. With those data points, we can better understand ourselves and make more educated guesses and decisions for our future. I've just collected so much data this past year, and that's been very helpful in my growth as an individual. And I think the whole data collecting thing has been a great way of reframing my mindset when bad things happen as well, because I just see it as like, okay, well, how, like, what data am I going to collect from this? How will I like store that in my brain, kind of like Inside Out style with like all of those balls of memories? And how will these data points help me in the future when I'm making future decisions and like understanding myself? Last year, like this week, my friends and I went to New York for the first time, and it was not to be like, but like New York really kickstarted a lot of things for me. I have changed so much since that trip, but I've also stayed the same. I've had so many new experiences and situations to learn from this past year, experiencing real struggle at work, how to become like a better problem solver in the corporate space, how to be a good employee, how to be a good coworker, learning when to walk away and take care of myself. I've learned of the highs and lows of dating apps. Don't even ask me more. The woes of it all. I've tried so many new things. I've had the privilege of getting to go on a world tour. I've learned to trust my skill set as someone who's worked in social media. I took language classes, and that really showed me that I can do hard things and I'm capable of things once I put my mind to it. Getting to experience solo living, that has been so wonderful. I do have a housemate, like I said, so I'm not like totally on my own, but just getting to be alone for a lot of the time. Like she's at work right now and I'm just in our apartment. Moving abroad alone, being in Taiwan alone in a way because I didn't come with any family or friends, and I don't have a lot of extended family here that I meet up with. So in a way, I just feel like I'm quite alone on this new adventure. And just finding a lot of peace in that. Just getting to collect data on myself, basically. Like, I am my own like data collection project. Going to places by myself that I've always wanted to try, like going to a concert alone, going to the movies alone. I went to like a workout class on my own. Little everyday things like going shopping, going to cafes, eating out alone, dining at like a sit-down restaurant on my own, party of one, and just like finding trial and error in my routines as well. Like, I like having some sort of movement in the morning, and I really, really, really value my slow mornings and just taking it easy. I don't like to feel like super, super rushed. I've just learned a lot about myself and my habits and how to create an environment in which I can flourish in has been a big takeaway from this past 6 months of data collecting. I think looking forward, I want to be entering this season of more. By this season of more, I mean, like, I wrote down more family, more patience, more paper time. So like journaling, reading, arts and crafts, DIY, like just away from the screens. Okay, less screens, but we're not using less, we're using more. So more paper time, more sleep, more consistency in routines, more movement, whether that's running, yoga, Pilates, long walks, like just move, do things for my body. More experimenting with my personal style. I don't think I know my style yet. I'm 25, turning 26, and I don't really know how to dress myself sometimes, it feels like. So experimenting more with that. Allowing and embracing more failure in life. I think I just want to try more things, try more new things, put myself in situations where I can grow, because that's where, put myself in uncomfortable situations because that's where I will end up growing. So more room for failure, more solo time, but like carved out intentionally. Just want to have more play, more fun, just let myself have time to unwind. And I think, I don't know how busy I'm going to be with my new job, because it's like in a whole new industry that I haven't had experience in previously, and I've never done this kind of work before, so I don't know how demanding it's going to be. So much talking. That's where I'm at. It's just been a hell of a ride. I was considering like saying all this in Chinese, but I feel like I totally forgot until just now. I feel like I could have said most of this in Chinese. Actually, maybe not. I don't even know how to say selfish. So maybe I'm not as good at Chinese as I thought. But that about concludes my reflections and ramblings for today. Thank you for watching or listening, and I hope that this has inspired you to maybe do some reflecting on your own. Really grown to love journaling the past year or so. I used to be so bad at it, and I journal like once a year. But maybe it's just because like I've had so much change and so much time to reflect this past year. But yeah, I've grown to really love journaling, and that's all I really had to say. Hope that you are able to have some kind of takeaway in this video. I don't know, like sometimes I feel like I just talk to talk and I provide absolutely no value, and I just add to the noise that is social media. So thank you for choosing to watch this and listen, and I will see you guys all when I see you on the next one. Bye!